We don't have a problem like a couple of weeks ago.
That would be awesome. It signs into every other account perfectly. But the one that I want...
No, doesn't accept it.
Oh, no, it's going to decide to work this time around. Literally no different to what happened last time.
Right, let's send Tom the...
Have you seen what Tom wants us to do after tonight?
Yeah, for Premiere. The DAS system, isn't it?
Yeah, TAS. Well,
TS,
to be honest
TAS
with you,
system, not DAS.
I do next round and then possibly the season finale, so I'm not quite sure if I'm the one that should be there. That's the only thing. Like... Because that's just it for me, like... Because I'll be doing F1 esports.
How many rounds is there of Premiere after tomorrow? It's 5, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm away for 3 of them.
You're away for 3 of them.
Tomorrow, haven't I?
Yeah, we've got round tomorrow, and then it's Christmas, and then we're back on the. I'm tempted to say something on the 20th, I think.
Yeah, but then I've got F1 esports until April.
Yes, you do.
Just leaves the last round of May. So.
Yeah, 27th of January. Next one. After Canada tomorrow. And it's Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Brazil. 4 great tracks after the new year, and then 1 track. Right. So we might need to sync our streams in, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't gone spectate. There's only 3 people here, by the way, if anybody's listening, tuning in. Which is not great, at all. There should be more. Let me have a look at... Oh, I need to get the standings up. Perpetuum now led the way. Medium Pilot didn't attend last week, by the way, as well. So Perpetuum's now new championship leader. And I'm just having a look at who's absent tonight. Genio's absent, Killer Blue, Varky, Venom, and I'm a D aren't racing. And Chapelelli as well, because there's a FOL event on tonight apparently. Which isn't too bad.
Just make it so needlessly complicated. It's so needlessly complicated. Well, no, honestly, my live stream now doesn't appear. I haven't even touched this one, and it doesn't appear anywhere.
Really? Wow.
Yep, nowhere. Like, it's poor. YouTube is just so bad.
Yeah. They try and help out content creators, and then, yeah.
And then shoot them.
Yeah. Which is why probably Twitch affiliation is probably a lot better. I'm going to look into that maybe for next year.
Honestly, do it, because YouTube is so bad. No, honestly, it is. It is. I'm tired of YouTube now because my stream isn't appearing. I can't even make it appear to make it unlisted. It's woeful. It's woeful. You can't look at your own live stream in 2020. How bad is that?
On the other hand, I got mine up straight away.
I know. But this is me, so it's not going to be easy.
I'm hoping it's the case tonight where everyone is going to join late. There's only 5 here. But we're good to go, says Tom.
Yeah, Tom, I can't do anything about unlisting the video. It won't let me. It won't let me edit any detail of it anymore. So...
Have you synced up the streams, by the way, Tom? Just to clarify.
No, because I haven't done it.
Oh, you haven't. Ah, yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Nothing's going right for me, James. I don't worry about it.
One of those nights.
I finally found it, but not in a place it should be. So that's nice. Right, anyway, I suppose you'll want to start then, Tom. I suppose we could do that.
He's hanging on tenterhooks.
He really is. Okay, right. James, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
I assume Mr. Tom is ready. I haven't seen any goats, but I assume he's ready. So as always, good luck. Japan is a misleadingly exciting Grand Prix, so don't expect too many overtakes. But as always, 10 seconds. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the 9th round of TT Masters League here on League Racing TV. With only 3 rounds to go of the championship for this season, the title race hots up ever more as we head to the land of the rising sun. We head to the east for the Japanese Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGidley, and joining me in the commentary box here for this third to last round is the ever-present, the ever-loving, the ever-great Mr. James Head. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing really well, Kieran. How's you?
Not so bad, not so bad. Obviously, we head to the only figure-of-8 circuit on the calendar. Originally set up as Honda's private test track before it was then repurposed and reused as a Formula One venue. So let's jump in to those driver standings. Now, of course, after Singapore, the title and the table looks a little like this. Perpetum leads the way on 160 points ahead of Medium Pilot. In second place, they're on 135. Killer Blue makes his way up to the top 3 in the standings after some really impressive results as of late. 3 drivers tying for 4th place in Amazing Hour, Imadi and Matthias. And Amazing Hour has to say, he has joined this league, hasn't he, James, with a flurry of good results, and it's got him all the way up to 4th place at the moment. Joint 7th, I should say, there, M Short and Twitch Lemon, who have made good starts. They've sort of plateaued a little bit mid-season, but they're getting some form back, so we should be able to see them get some good results in the end of it. Looking at the bottom half of the table, we've got Carlsbury, not a name we're expecting to see that far down in 16th place. Legend as well, hoping to get some decent results towards the end of the season. Having a quick look then at the constructors table. Mercedes then on 199, 30 points ahead of Alpha Tauri. It's Alfa Romeo rounding out the top 3. Ferrari a little bit way off the pace, aren't they? All the way down there in 10th place. Only 36 points scored for the Tifosi's lovable team. And they find themselves rooted to the bottom of the table with only 3 rounds left to try and pick up some points. James, we head to this third to last round here for the Japanese Grand Prix. 3 drivers tied for that 4th place position, and the title race could go on for a couple of races yet. How do you think you found this season so far?
This season, honestly, has been quite wide open from my sparse account. We all thought that Medium Pilot was going to run away with things, but it just hasn't been the case. He hasn't attended the last 2 races, and that's why Perpetuum is leading the standings. So Medium Pilot is here tonight. He is going to try and get retribution and revenge on Perpetuum, I am sure. Looking further down as well, Amazing Hour, just talking about him, he joined, I think, 3 races ago, and has taken, I don't think he's been out the top 3, if I'm not mistaken, in all of his results. And he's 4th in the standings, so goodness knows what he could have done if he joined a couple of rounds earlier, maybe even round 1 of the season. And we've got a couple of new drivers here tonight as well. Marco Botta, who's a reserve in the Red Bull, Volbike in the McLaren, and Venoms as well, who debuted, of course, last week in the Ferrari. And that is it in terms of the new drivers, so looking forward to see how they get on out on track once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And to talk of Ferrari, they finally got 2 drivers in that seat right now, Venom being one of them. And is that really a key for Ferrari to try and salvage whatever they can from this season?
Well, they're just rooted at the bottom of the standings, aren't they? They're on 36 points. They're 50 points behind McLaren. And McLaren have now got 2 drivers as well. So Ferrari have got to up their game. Carlsberry's the only one that scored the points so far for the team. Venoms, though, looked last week. Certainly he was quite quick until he retired out the race. Looking to see how he gets on out on track. Can he add a little bit of Greek flair to the Ferrari?
Well, I'm sure they will give it their best try out there, and obviously with that title race, or should I say that race for 9th place, looking ever ominous for Ferrari to drop out of, they will certainly not want to find themselves at the bottom of the table. But the Japanese Grand Prix then, James, it's been a scene where it's decided titles. It won't be a scene to decide a title tonight. But what's your views on this track in Suzuka?
Honestly, 2 words, DRS train. Simple as that. There's going to be a lack of overtaking, I think, running down the straight. Certainly down towards turn 1, it's the only DRS zone out on track as well, so there's limited overtaking room around the whole track, to be honest. And of course, we have to take a moment to pay tribute to Jules Bianchi in that horrible crash, of course, in 2014 that eventually did claim his life. But it is a figure-of-8 track, as you say. 5.8 kilometres in length, 156.7 kilometres in race distance as well, and 27 laps awaiting the drivers, of course, out on track. I cannot wait to see how these guys are going to get on. By the way, we have been joined as well as a random spectator by Mashiro. It's from Division 2.
Well, there you go. Maybe trying to get a sight into what Division 1 is going to be like. Maybe he's trying to angle a move in towards one of the Division 1 teams. Who knows? But he will surely be looking on, trying to suss everything out. What I have to say, though, is if you're watching along in the chat, welcome to tonight's stream. Hopefully you'll find this race as exciting as we do, and we hope we can cover it the best that we can here on League Racing TV. Remember, if it's a weeknight, we're racing, and that is how it stands at the moment. If you fancy your chances in the commentary box as well, don't forget there are opportunities coming up on Saturdays and Sundays in CRC here on League Racing TV. If you want more details, there are links below in the description that'll take you to the relevant places to ask. Myself and James, our Twitters are also down in the description below. If you want to check us out, you can thoroughly do so at your own pleasure. But as well as that, make sure you like, subscribe, and hopefully enjoy tonight's action. We're going to be heading into Suzuka very, very soon. But James, it's a high aero track that's got a long straight down the start-finish straight. So what's some of the tips that maybe the drivers might be looking at heading into this final minute or so before the race starts?
Well, they've got to have a high aero setup, and they've got to try and balance that out with that straight, that one solo straight really out on track, apart from, of course, running down in towards 130R, which is flat out as you normally take it through flat out. If it's wet conditions, then obviously it's going to be not flat out. But seeing out on track, there's going to be probably quite a lot of lack of overtaking, to be honest, within the race as well. With the high aero setup, it could create quite an interesting race, I think. Just being informed, by the way, I believe Mashiro is not racing. He was invited by mistake.
Well, there we go. Well, joining on the fun, why not? Would have been the answer to that one. However, we'll see him hopefully tomorrow night in Division 2 instead. Actually, no, not tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is Thursday, and it would be Thursday, wouldn't it? Because tomorrow night is TT Masters League. How could I forget? My goodness, I am a forgetful person, aren't I? But anyway, let's focus on TT Masters League tonight. Anyway, let's leave Esports Masters League till tomorrow. So let's, without further ado, jump into what is the Japanese Grand Prix. Well, here we are then for the Japanese Grand Prix, the 9th round of TT Masters League Division 1 Season number 2, and it takes us to this only figure of 8 circuit on the race calendar. Tyre compounds, well, Pirelli have brought the 3 hardest compounds, C3, C2 and C1, to cope with those high-speed corners and those heavy demands on tyre wear. But as you can see right there, just behind our names there, is that figure of 8 circuit part. 5.8 kilometres then takes us round the 18 turns of what used to be Honda's testing ground. Just the one DRS zone down towards turn 1 with the one activation zone just before the Casio triangle. Lots of undulation changes that the drivers will have to be careful of, including the turn 10 hairpin. That is uphill on braking, banking towards the apex of the corner. Making a move there would be your best chance of an overtake, considering it is the heaviest braking zone on the track. Here we are then, a little bit of haze in the sky here in Japan, but as the drivers make their way out onto the circuit, I believe it is Recon who will be the first to do so as he makes his way down towards the pit lane exit and joining onto this legendary Suzuka track. So much has happened here in the past, hasn't it, James, including one title bout in the 1980s, which we never mention at all.
Senna and Prost. Simple as that.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to have a scenario like that tonight because A, the championship can't be won tonight, and B, I think these guys know better than Senna and Prost from the 1980s to try and go and ruin somebody's race down in towards turn 1. Recon is the first out on track, and it's going to be quite interesting to see. He's been a little bit of a disappointment, if I've got to be honest. I hate to use that word, but he has. Looking at the standings, he's looking at the standings. Have I got the right standings up? I just need to find myself where he is. He's in 14th position on 49 points. Another wonder I was getting confused because the Red Bull colours next to his name. That's why I couldn't find him. 49 points for his name, and he's behind the likes of Cohen, who's recently joined the league. Now, I know he's been trying no ABS and things like that and no line, so it's going to be fascinating to see if he can try and reclaim some of that form. He only had one lap. He didn't even have a lap last week in Singapore, so let's see how he gets on, and he will be the first to set a lap out on track.
Absolutely he will, as he flies through 130R, while James take us on board with a lap with the Recon as he winds up to start his qualifying lap.
Coming through the Casio triangle then, through 16, 17 and 18. Yellow flags in sector 3, don't worry about that. Just drivers preparing up for the lap. And Recon now running down towards turn 1. We should see 26s, 27s, I think, here tonight in terms of lap time. As he opens up that DRS, 200 mile an hour all the way down to around 100 as he now comes through turn number 2. Very nice indeed. And now through the Senna S's, or the Slytherin Snake section, as I normally like to call it, through 3, 4, 5 and then 6, and then up the hill and through the Dunlop curve, which is through turn 7. And if you get one wheel on the outside, you will ruin your lap, definitely. Recon towards the end of the first sector, 30.8 through the first sector, exactly where you want to be. Looking through Degner 1 and Degner 2, very nice indeed as he now runs up the hill, famously where Kvyat went off in 2014, if I'm not mistaken, getting caught on the grass. Recon then coming through the hairpin at the top of the hill, the highest point on the track. A little bit sketchy coming out of the hairpin, if I've got to be honest. We're now running down the hill towards Spoon Curve, which is turns 13 and 14, of course, out on track. And this has been a good insight so far to his lap as he runs a little bit wide, but now tries to prioritise the exit of the corner, coming out of Spoon and then on the run down towards 130R, which you can take in excess of 195 mile an hour as you get up towards this point. In fact, he's going to be in and around that point as he gets through the middle sector, 109.7 through the middle sector from Recon as he now comes through into the Casio triangle, just rubs against the grass slightly through 16, through 17, and on the run up through 18. Remember, they've taken off the bump this time around, and Recon across the line already defeated what I said, 25.9.
Nice lap there from Recon. An amazing hour goes even quicker. 25.7 then from the Alfa Romeo puts him now on provisional pole position here at Suzuka. And as you can see, Voiberg Volbeig, in third place now, 26 flat from the McLaren driver as he now tries to get that pace on board as Papetum, then 26 flat as well, but a 26.009 from Papetum puts him onto the second row of the grid at least, as I believe that's the Red Bull there of Marco Botta making his way through the first corners as he now makes his way on towards the, as so called by our lovely commentator friend, this snake section. There's a lot of chance of an understeer moment through this section, isn't there, James? The aero's really got to be working hard.
Yeah, there is. I was just catching on board with Cohen on his lap as well. Good lap from him. 31.2 though from Marco through the first sector. And yeah, you've got to try and really get that snake section right, and up through Dunlop Curve as well. Not sure if it's happened on your end, but I'm getting amazing hours fastest lap time constantly on the bottom left of my screen, which is not great. We'll try and roll with it. But Marco Botta on his lap. He is reserve, of course, here in Division 1 for Red Bull as he now comes up towards Spoon Curve. Not looking like a bad lap, but it's not looking that quick. He's around Carlsbury sort of area, I think, at this pace.
Yeah, and I think as well, Marco Botta, the huge difference with the reserve driver status is that although you'll score points for your own driver tally, you will not score any points for your constructor that you're racing with. So that's going to be important for Red Bull. They won't want to have Botta in the car for too long, not because he's not quick enough, but because he won't be scoring them any points. He now makes his way through the Casio triangle, down the hill we go, through the 18th corner and towards that start-finish line, and 7th place on the board for Marco Botta, 26.4 puts him onto the 4th row of the grid, just ahead of Carlsbury.
Literally, as I said, just ahead of Carlsbury as well, so that's a prediction that's came right already for me. Medium Pilot is on a lap, he's on a set of mediums, compound of tyre, and he's actually looking around Marco Botta sort of area with his middle sector, 110.2, so exactly where you want to expect him to be. Recon, Papetum still second and third behind Amazing Hour, is now coming through the final corner. I think Combi improved up to 6th with the 26.2. Medium Pilot, though, across the line on a set of mediums, 26.3, and he's faster than Marco Botta and Carlsbury, and that, he could find at least a second possibly on his lap. That could be, what, mid-25s? That is going to be big improvement, surely.
Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? As we see Matthias now making his way back towards the pit lane. He invalidated his lap time earlier on in the lap and now makes his way back into the pit lane for another run. And of course, you get those 3 soft tyres to use, but obviously you have to start the race on one of them if you start inside of the top 10. So you've got to be careful about how many laps you do out here on this 5.8 kilometre circuit. And we're lapping here 85 seconds just over is all it takes to lap this 5.8 kilometre X test track for Honda, and Combi now makes its way in towards the pit lane. Currently 6th place for the Alfa Romeo, but Medium Pilot 26.3. That is a huge lap time on those medium tyres.
It is. He's 6/10 of a second off the back of Amazing Hour, and Amazing Hour is about 2/10 clear ahead of Recon, so it's not too bad. I'm on board with Venoms, who's just about to start his lap. The Greek, who debuted last week, of course, in Singapore, was quite well in terms of the pace, but didn't deliver out on track. I think he DNF'd out of his first race as well. Coming through turns 1 and 2, not looking too bad. He has joined DTG in amongst that week as well. Clearly feeling he's got weight on his shoulders. Shoulders. Got there in the end. Through the slithering snake section through 5 and 6, and then up through the Dunlop Curve. He just locked on the edge. It looks like a bit of an unstable setup, and exactly what I've just said there is nearly came true as he nearly goes into the wall. 31.2, not a quick lap so far.
Not at the moment, however, he's looking to just get that lap on the board and just get a lap up there, see what he can do to improve as Recon making his way around the Casio triangle to start a lap time as he makes his way across that start-finish line, looking to improve on what is already a pretty decent lap time, pretty handy lap time around here at 25.9 as Venom has invalidated his lap time, so he'll have to go again to try and get a lap time on the board. Hardy, Matthias, Lemon and Venom all yet to set lap times so far in this qualifying session. We have less than 10 minutes to go. It is the Australian in Amazing Hour topping our timing sheet at this moment in time. A 25.7 is our provisional pole position time so far.
I believe Recon is invalidated coming through turn 2, possibly on the exit of turn 2. He's got Volbeig just behind him out on track, and this is the worst place you can overtake, and he blocks him. Recon not paying attention, and Volbeig gets blocked on his lap. He's going to be very unhappy with that, and it's a simple case of get out of the way. It's a track that very difficult to try and overtake on, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the shoulder of responsibility has to be on Recon there, so I would not be surprised if that's a trip to the stewards for the both of them. So Voiberg then, who was on a potentially good lap, has to bail out of it and try again. I think he'll come back to the pit lane. He won't want to do 2 laps on those soft tyres. He'll just try and leave those tyres to the side, come back to the pits and then put on a fresh set of soft tyres. And it's one of those where if you do that, if you do not get out of the way of a driver in behind you who's on a fast lap and you maybe have invalidated, it's easy to do. It's easy to lose that focus and concentration. Marco Botta, meanwhile, getting all sorts of out of shape going through the spoon curve, and then onwards we go towards 130R. But you spotted something out there, James.
Yeah, Cohen just, I think, invalidated his lap. There's on the left-hand side, there Combi getting out of the way. Cohen just invalidated his lap, I think, out on track. He is still going in ERS mode too, so I wonder actually if this is still a valid lap. But it has looked on the limit, if I'm going to be honest. Medium Pilot is just ahead of him out on track. He'll try and want to get a really good run, but I have a feeling Cohen is going to be down in this middle sector. He comes through this middle sector now, and he's a 10th up, so he's defying the commentator here as he comes through 130R, and then towards the Casio Triangle out on track. Cosby, by the way, went third, 25.9. Good lap from him in the Ferrari. Ferrari need their point, of course, in the Constructors. Cohen now trying to take the shallow line down towards the line, and he goes second, 25.8. Good improvement there from Cohen in the final sector. That looked like a really clean lap, but we've got a Mason Hour out there, 300ths down. I think he's invalid as well.
Well, we've got Marco Botta, who's 300ths of a second quicker as we head our way through the Degner curves, and now under the bridge towards we go to the hairpin. Obviously, Kobayashi loves to move down the inside in towards the hairpin here, but Marco Botta, nice on the throttle there. Lovely stuff to keep that wheel spin down as much as possible. Currently at 26.4. Carlsbury into the 25s now. That's much better from the Ferrari. That's the times we're expecting from a Ferrari driver. Could go even quicker still. 7 minutes left of the session to go. Marco Botta invalidates that lap time, and yet he backs out of it completely. Running wide on the exit of Spoon there, and that has invalidated his lap time. He'll have to go again.
Medium Pilot's just made a mistake as well coming out of Degner 2. He's onto a set of soft compound tyres, but literally as I went on board with him, it looked like he made a mistake coming through Degner 1 and then through Degner 2, and that's why he has now backed off this lap as well. Down in 10th position, 26.3. You'd imagine he'll try and set a blistering lap time very soon indeed. But Perpetuum quickest, 25.6. Amazing Hour is out there on a lap, but I think again it's another invalid lap, and he'll have to make his way back into the pit lane with 6.5 minutes to go.
He's still in mode 2 though, so he's still going for it, even if it is an invalidated lap, as he now makes his way towards the Spoon curve. The Australian, who did have the fastest lap time of this session before Perpetuum turned up with it, now backs out of it completely, pulls to the left-hand side of the track and lets a Mercedes go. That Mercedes is Matthias, who is in mode 0 at the moment, just trying to speed his way back towards the pit lane. Recon on an outlet at the moment, the only Williams out there so far in this race tonight. However, we're seeing Matthias then making his way all the way through. He cuts across the Casio Triangle there just to make it a little bit quicker, coming back to the pit lane. Venom, meanwhile, then is on a flying lap. He now makes his way all the way through this S section. Now we head our way towards the Dunlop curve. This left-hander was so easy to lose the back end, and Venom was testing and treading the waters there for sure as we make our way towards the Degner curve. So you can see how quick the first Degner is, then in towards the second Degner where it banks towards the corner, cambers towards the curb, but then the curve is perfectly straight, so you get a little bit of a bump there. In towards the hairpin we go. Bit of a lock-up on that front left-hand tyre, but now he gets the power down. No wheel spin really, as he now flies his way onwards. We go towards the Spoon curve, and obviously the double left-hander here. We've got a slight touch on the brakes there, down to 5th. Bit of curve and a bit of grass on entry, I have to say, which might have compromised his entry into the corner at least, as now we go flying all the way towards 130R. Now let's see, full throttle, keep that pedal to the absolute limit on the floor. Try and push it through the floor if you can. Venom now braking hard then in towards the Casio Triangle and then onwards towards that start-finish line. What's this going to be then for the Ferrari driver for his first lap of this qualifying session? It's a 26.040, which puts him onto the 4th row of the grid.
I apologise for the noises I was making. Medium Pilot was 8.5 tenths up in the middle sector and then got caught on the curb coming out the final corner and went into the pit lane. So he has not got any luck with the curbs out on track so far. 26.3 still his lap time, down in 11th position. But look at how the field are closely, quite closely knit, to be honest. 0.8 of a second, saying that 0.9 of a second as Recon's just gone quicker by 0.4 of a second. 25.5. He puts it to Perpetum and Amazing Hour, and that's the Recon we like to see.
That is, and he wants to get himself up the order in the championship as much as possible with a lap time like that. That is not going to be the trickiest thing tonight. 25.5 for Recon sets the fastest lap of this qualifying session so far, as Botta 26.4 from him on the soft tyres. We're still expecting that lap time from medium pilot. As James said, he was 0.8 of a second quicker before he fluffed it up in towards the Casio triangle. So we've got to see what that lap time is going to be, because that could be a potential pole time. Combi now riding on board with him as he makes his way towards the hairpin, but he's now chucked it down to mode 0 on his ERS deployment. So something might not have gone his way, and he's backed out of the lap. Recon then obviously pole sitter right now, 25.5, and you have to say, James, as you were saying, the entire field right now covered by 1 second.
Covered by less than a second, by 0.9 of a second, just over out on track. Volbeat, Venom, Combi, by the way, are covered by 0.03 of a second between 6 and 8. That's 3 drivers covered by 0.03 of a second out on track. Combi has backed out of a lap. I think he improved by 0.2 of a second, if I'm not mistaken, and he's ran out of fuel. So it's going to be very touch and go whether he's going to get this into the pit lane in time for another lap. I doubt it, to be honest, judging by how far he's going. He will cut the corner, though, to try and get him a little bit of speed. Then he's into the pit lane. He might be fine now as a result of that.
Well, still going to be cutting it a little bit fine. You want to enter the pit lane with as much time as possible and not have it as tight as that. However, we've got cars out on track, and Volbeat is one of the first out there as he makes his way now through in towards the Spoon curve, and that double left-hander which approaches you here. Very easy to carry too much speed into the entry in towards Spoon and just catch yourself on the curb on the outside. However, Volbeat now makes his way down towards 130R, weaving that car left and right just to put some heat, last-minute heat into those tyres as he now makes his way through 130R. Such a legendary corner, which now you can pretty much take flat out in qualifying trim anyway. Now making his way down towards the Casio triangle, and Volbeat will have a go at a flying lap here at Suzuka. Currently 6th at the moment, half a second to find if he wants to try and find that pole position time. Anything can happen though, and this will be his, well, it could be his last lap of the session, considering that he won't have the tyres to do 2 laps. In towards the first 2 turns we go, and you can see they're flying through turn 1, leaving you braking as late as you dare, trail braking in towards turn 2, then in towards the S's, through 3, through 4, through turn 5 as you drop a gear into 5th, now then down to 4th to try and get the car steered into the corner, then up the gears to try and reduce the wheel spin through the Dunlop curve, over the crest, and as we head our way towards the Degner curves, through Degner 1, chucking it down a gear, darting in to the right-hander, then through the second Degner, runs a little bit onto the curb there, and backs out of the lap. So nothing doing there for Voibo, but he's got to be careful about cars behind him. I think luckily for him, Venom is on an out lap, so he won't have to immediately jump out of the way, but he backed out of that lap time, James.
He did indeed. An Amazing Hour I'm just on board with now. Looks like he's on a lap, but Medium Pilot made another mistake coming through the S section through turns 3 and 4, and he's backed out of a lap. I think he can get another crack of the cherry, but with 35 seconds to go, we're really in the nitty-gritty of this qualifying session. We're right on board then with Amazing Hour. He's got the McLaren of Volbeat just ahead of him out on track, trying to weave to try and get heat into the tyres. Does he realise that Amazing Hour behind him is actually on a lap, and Amazing Hour luckily just gets out of the way. He's 0.2 of a second up Amazing Hour now, as he is going to try and improve ahead of Recon. 25.3, I think this is nailed on for Amazing Hour. Through the final corner he comes, down across the pitch straight now. 25.4, you know what, I'll take that.
Oh, absolutely. And the Australian puts it on pole once again. Perpetum is now on a flying lap to try and get another place up higher. Perpetum then puts it onto the second row of the grid, 25.6. He did beat the checker flag if he wants to go again, but going to be very, very difficult to try and do that one. Meanwhile, Perpetum then making his way all the way up towards turn 10. We've got Matthias to keep our eye out for as well. Up to P4, 25.8 from the Mercedes. Cohen as well in the Renault is making his way through 130. 30 are, and we've got a Ferrari heading towards the line in, I believe that's going to be Carlsbury making his way towards the line and goes 6th fastest, 25.9. We've got a Red Bull of Marco Botta across the line, 26.2, gets himself ahead of Medium Pilot, who's down there in 12th place on those medium tyres, so didn't get a chance to get a good lap on those soft tyres. Hardy coming across the line, can he improve? Yes he can, 25.9 from the racing point, and here riding aboard now with the next man to get to the line, Perpetum making his way through the Casio triangle, down the hill we go, and onwards towards the start finish line. Is this going to be it for Perpetum? You bet it is. 25.3 from the Alpha Tauri, and he puts it straight onto pole position. Great lap time. Is that 2 points in the bag?
Is it? Because Recon is on a lap. He's a 10th down, but he couldn't try and find something out of the final couple of corners. Let's see if he can as he comes through the final couple of corners. Now, Recon to the line. Is he going to defeat Perpetum? No, he doesn't do it. 25.7 in the end, but Recon third. And Mason Hour's backed out the lap. And Tyres, I think, has backed out of a lap as well. Yeah, that's qualifying done, I think, apart from Twitch Lemon, who's not on a lap time. And it's Perpetum out on top, and Mason Hour second. Recon in third.
There you go then, so Perpetum takes 2 points to add to his championship tally and takes pole position here by, well, just under a 1/10 of a second. Fine margins, but if that's anything to go by, James, we've got a heck of a race to unfold here. The whole field separated by less than 1 second, and that is because Medium Pilot also didn't get to set a lap time on a set of soft tyres, or at least he did, but it might not have been a valid lap time. He will start outside of the top 10, and that really is the last thing he needed.
Especially with Perpetum on pole as well. 2 points going Perpetum's way. Medium Pilot in 12th. Honestly, he needs a miracle out on track. But if there's any man that can do it, it's Medium Pilot.
Absolutely, and he will get a fresh, free range of tyre to put on at the start of this race. But here are your results for qualifying. Then Perpetum picks up 2 points to add to his championship tally and taking pole position by less than half a 1/10 of a second ahead of Amazing Hour. Recon in 3rd place with Cohen in 4th, Volbeig in 5th place with Matthias in 6th, Hardy 7th, Carlsbury in 8th, Venom in 9th, and Combi rounding out the top 10. It's Marco Botta in 11th, Medium Pilot starting outside of the top 10 with Twitch Lemon not seeing a lap time in that session. He will start 13th and on a free range of tyres. So that, James, sums up qualifying for us. All drivers within a second of each other, with Medium Pilot probably even closer than that because he didn't set a clean lap time on the board, but he's gonna have a difficult time, isn't he, here tonight?
Theoretically, taking the lap time that I was on board with, he was 8.5 tenths up through that middle sector, so he would have been within the top 5, granted, even if he wasn't improving in the final sector. So Medium Pilot has got it all to do. But as I say, if it's any man that can do it, it will be Medium Pilot. Volbeig as well, in 5th position, doing a really good job out on track. Best of the newcomers, and I'm very interested to see how he gets on, because I believe he's AOR F2 quality, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we shall see how he gets on tonight against what has been a very, very topsy-turvy championship. That is for sure, as we've got plenty of changes up and down the order. Perpetum extends his lead in the championship, of course, because 2 points you will get for qualifying on pole position. You'll also get a point for the fastest lap of the race. Now, that can be had anywhere in the field. You don't have to finish in the top 10 to be able to get that extra bonus point. You just have to make it to the checkered flag with a purple time next to your name, and you will be able to have that lovely bonus point. And if you're not familiar as well with TT Masters League, we do run an alternate point scoring system. 30 points to the race winner, which goes all the way down to 1 point for 19th place, 20th place scoring 0 points whatsoever. So in theory, James, all these drivers just get to the checkered flag in one piece, or at least in as few pieces as possible. They've got themselves some points on the board.
Minimum of 7 points, I think, are available to all the guys out on track tonight. A maximum of 30. 23-point range in the end. What's not to like? I think everyone should finish the race, certainly out on track. Top 10, of course, qualifying on a set of soft compound of tyres. And looking at the rest, Marco Botta, Medium Pilot, and Twitch Lemon, both Red Bulls and the Mercedes, all on a set of medium compound of tyres. Now, for me, the soft compound of tyres, you could see pit stops around here as early as maybe lap 5, lap 6, I'm thinking, because it's quite a high tyre degradation circuit. And Medium Pilot, down on the mediums, Marco Botta and Lemon including, will try and get towards the halfway stage, and then they've got a choice. Do they go hard, or do they go a set of soft compound of tyres, which can last, I have seen, around 10 or 11 laps around here.
Well, all will be revealed. All, I'm sure, will be discussed with each of the drivers as they make their way through. But as you quite rightly said, James, the top 10 will have to start on the tyres they qualified on. So all of the top 10 starting on a set of soft tyres, Marco Botta, medium pilot and Twitch Lemon starting on a set of medium tyres. Just a quick one from you, James. Expected strategy and your top 3.
Expected strategy, I think one stop certainly is going to be the way to go. I think if there's no safety cars, certainly there's going to be a one stop. If there's a safety car, two stop I think could definitely work. For my top 3, you know what, I'm going to go absolutely random as. Medium pilot, I think, might win this, from Perpetuum in 2nd, and Recon in 3rd. Yeah, medium pilot from 12th. At me at that one if I get that wrong.
Do you know what? We need to have that in writing, please, chat. And if James is right, we need to think of a forfeit. For now, though, we've got 27 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix up and coming, ready to go. Perpetuum will be wanting to extend his championship advantage by ever so much, considering that one of his championship rivals, Medium Pilot, is all the way down the field, and Killer Blue, unfortunately, is not here tonight to continue that great run of form he is on. However, Perpetuum will see this as an opportunity to try and extend that lead as we head towards the next round in Mexico. But first, we've got the Japanese Grand Prix to race here at Suzuka. As we count up now, it is 5 red lights. And we're racing in Suzuka. What are the starts like? Great start from Perpetuum. Good launch as well from Amazing Owl. Watch out for Recon, though, because he's on the tail of the AlphaTauri, having to go a long way round in towards turn 1. Amazing Owl has got the inside line. The Williams will have to go the long way round, but has to back out of it. Hold on to 3rd for now and maintain position. Cohen in 4th place then. We've got the Mercedes and the McLaren and Matthias and Volbein going side by side as we make our way through the S's. Still going side by side. Yellow flags in Sector 1. That's Combi and Marco Botta, who found themselves in a little bit of trouble there, just going through the first couple of corners. Meanwhile then, Carlsbury is looking for a way past his now new teammate in towards the first set of Degners there, but he didn't quite find that way through. Meanwhile, at the front of the order, Perpetuum still leads the way, though, looking our way towards turn 10. Anybody going to try a little bit of an ambitious move up towards turn 10? Not this time around, but I'm sure we'll see something like that within the race. Perpetuum leads, though. Amazing Hour in 2nd, riding on board with Recon as he tries to chase down the Australian. Behind him, though, is Cohen as we make our way in towards the Spoon section. Carlsbury in 8th place, looking for a way to get past his teammate. We know, James, how quick Carlsbury can be. It's been a little bit of an off-season for him, but he'll want to try and get up the order as much as possible. Volbeig, though, meanwhile, going in towards 130 in the slipstream of Cohen ahead. Is there an opportunity in towards the Casio triangle? You can see there Cohen defending the inside line there, just moving across and saying, all right, you're not having that one so easily. Carlsbury, meanwhile, going side by side with his teammate, going wheel to wheel and winning the duel. He's up to 7th.
He is up to 7th, and Venom actually ran wide, and now Hardy is going to get the move done for 8th position. A little bit of a graphics glitch to the left-hand side. I think we've got Volbeig attacking as well on the Red Bull of Twitch Lemon, if I'm not mistaken. No, both of them are into the pits. Hardy, though, is through, but is he? Venom's now down the inside, gets through, done, and there's contact nearly through the middle sector. Volbeig and the Renault of Cohen, and there is contact. There is contact. Volbeig, I think, just showing them up at the pass, and there's all sorts of carnage in behind. The ghosting system clearly failing, and a 5-second penalty for medium pilot and a safety car.
Yeah, safety car. A lot of debris there to clear up in the first set of S's, but, you know, those yellow flags are there to warn you that sometimes the ghosting system doesn't quite go as planned. You still have to be careful even when there are yellow flags, but that means then under this safety car, Perpetuum leads from Amazing Hour in 2nd place, Recon in 3rd, Volbeig in 4th place, and it was him and Cohen that came together through the S's that sort of caused that little bit of a Constantina effect. As just having a look back at it here, it's a little bit unfortunate there, but I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at that one after this race. Carlsbury, though, has done well in this one, as we just see the predicted pit stop strategy come up now. No better time to do it than under a safety car. It says hard tyres from lap 9 to 11, but I'm kind of thinking that drivers will try and extend this soft tyre stint so that they can run the mediums.
They will, and I think the safety cars came out right in the best possible position for these guys that are on a set of soft compound of tyres. We are on lap 2, by the way, not lap 3. Predicted pit stop strategy just came up on my end as well. So yeah, I think they're going to try and extend this out. Maybe to around lap 11, lap 12, and then pit in for a set of mediums. 15 laps. Volbeig, though, is into the pit lane. I wonder if he picked up damage as a result of the collision with Cohen, or if he's just going to go on fresh rubber. I think it's the latter. He's going on fresh rubber. Onto a set of mediums he goes, so he's going 2-stop.
Yep, going two-stop for sure. You won't be able to get a medium tyre to the end of this race, so that's probably going to be splitting this rest of the race into 2 medium tyre stints. So we'll have to see how that one turns out, but you might as well try something different now to try and get yourself up the order. So Perpetuum leads then, Amazing Hour in second, Recon in third, Carlsbury up into 4th place, James. Now, what is he thinking here? He's got Cohen right behind him as well, who did get caught up in that incident. So actually, Cohen getting involved in the incident there, rejoining in 5th with hardly any damage whatsoever. He's a very, very lucky boy there.
He is a very lucky boy, and Bullbag is going to be the one behind him under the safety car restart. So it could be quite interesting. We could see blows once again between them both. But Cohen, I think, is in a more promising position. He's on a set of soft compound tyres. Bullbag is committed to a 2-stop strategy and behind, while Cohen will be committed to a 1-stop strategy, hopefully, onto a set of either mediums or hards that he will go on to right at the end of the race. Also think it's quite fortunate because Twitch Lemon came into the pit lane as well. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres. Now, these set of hards can last about 20 laps around here. Do not be surprised if he try and last out the stint, and don't be surprised if you see him towards the top 5 at the end.
Yeah, the hard tyres are a very durable tyre. They're the hardest tyre that Pirelli make in Formula 1. So they are designed to try and run as long as possible. And when you're coming across these high-speed corners at this lower speed under the safety car, it can help your tyres just survive a little bit longer in the race. However, hard tyres, as hard as they are, do have their limits. And as James said, it's around about 20 to 22 laps. So they'll be trying to eke out any sort of life in the tyres towards the end of the race. But they clearly feel, you know, the likes of Matthias, Venom, Combi, Hardy, Lemon and Marco Botta, they'll all be thinking that they can make this tyre stint last. Medium Pilot also down in 12th place, didn't quite get the start he wanted and hampered by the safety car. He's gone on now to a set of soft tyres and expect medium tyres towards the end of the race.
Yeah, set of softs is going to be quite interesting, I think, for Medium Pilot. You're going to see him absolutely cream his way through the field. In fact, he's into the pit lane. Medium Pilot is back into the pit lane. I wonder if he's put on a set of wrong... Yeah, he's going under a set of hards. Is he going to the end of the race on these?
Yeah, do you know what? I think he started on the mediums, didn't he? Then he pitted in, put on a set of soft tyres, has pitted in again to go onto a set of hards. So now his tyres will be a lap younger than those ahead of him. Maybe that's an opportunity so he can last his tyres a little bit longer than the rest of the field on a bit of a lighter load of fuel. All this mass, all that extra kilometres can add up if you are making amends in your head as trying to add up the maths in the weight of the car and the tyre wear, or maybe he's just thinking he did put on the wrong tyre when I'm looking too far into it. However, Medium Pilot, it's not the ideal start that he wanted. 13th place, it all to do with 24 laps to go.
I'm thinking if the safety car doesn't come in this lap, which I think it will, by the way, I think that if the safety car doesn't come in this lap, what it could be is that Medium Pilot will have less wear towards the end of the race, and 22-23 laps is entirely possible around here for a 1-stop strategy. Well, really, he's on a 2-stop strategy already because he's already been into the pits twice, and he's on a hard compound of tyre. It's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on, but he has rejoined the back of the queue. Whether the safety car does come in or not is up to Codemaster to decide.
I think it will come in now because it was just waiting for Medium Pilot to make sure he caught up to the back of the field. We'll normally know just heading on towards 130R. Riding aboard with Perpetuum, we'll be able to see when those safety car lights turn off. Let's see. Virtual Bird, Mylander, not switching him off just yet, but he's making his way down towards 130R. And safety car will be in this lap. So Perpetuum takes over the lead of the pack then. So he's in control of the pace. As long as he keeps it at a steady pace, he's allowed to go at whatever speed he wants. That safety car has got to come back into the pits, and it's got to cross the limit line before Perpetuum can restart this race. It's now heading across in towards the pit lane now. And has it reached that limiter line heading into the pit lane? Now I believe it has. Yes, now we could in theory get this race started and underway, and almost like I'm in Perpetuum's ear, he's got on with it now, making his way around the final corner and onwards towards the start finish line. We are back under green flag racing, and Perpetuum leads the field then down towards turn 1. Amazing Hour in second, Recon looking to see if he can take advantage on the restart, and Voiberg here looking for a move on the inside of Cohen. Soft tyre versus medium tyre, not quite quite happening just yet, but this is a Cohen that's on 4-lap-old soft tyres. He's been on them since the start of this race. Volbike, meanwhile, is on brand new, fresh, medium tyres. In theory, the pace should be with him, James.
In theory it should be, but you've got to imagine this scenario. They both make contact and they don't want to make contact again out on track. I was watching Medium Pilot's restart as well. He purposely decided to wait behind everyone else and then try and catch back up to try and get a little bit of clear air off the start, and it's managed to get him onto the back of Marco Botta already. Whether that works or not is a different thing, as Volbike is on the back of Cohen. Cohen just dropping the back of Carlsbury, who's all over the back of Recon, in fact, and Carlsbury I think has got the quicker restart at the front four.
Well, he might have, as he's come alive in this last couple of laps, hasn't he? Trying to make his way through. A little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of Spoon Curve, though. That's not going to help his momentum as we now go towards 130R. I'm riding on board with Volbike here. Of course, we've demonstrated already. Tom, behind the scenes, is with that split screen, so whatever James and I are looking at, hopefully you won't miss much if we cut away from the action. But look at Carlsbury, James. He's all over the back of Recon.
He is indeed, and he's coming down towards turn 1 to try and have a crack. He's got the overtake mode open. Recon, I think, is using his up. He's just trying to defend, and I think he will defend down in towards turn 1. Yeah, Recon will remain in P3. Carlsbury could have a look down in the inside and towards turn 2, but not quite. Recon remains 3rd. Carlsbury remains 4th. Cohen, Volbike, and further down the field as well, Venom's beginning to get onto the back of Matthias as well for 7th and 8th.
Yeah, as just looking at the rear wing of the Williams of Recon there, Carlsbury looks up for this, doesn't he? We now head our way through in towards the Dunlop curve and now towards the Degner curves, the quick right-handers here. Down a gear and then flip the car into the right in the first Degner, then all the way down in towards 3rd gear. Try and go with the little bit of banking towards the apex of the corner to try and help you carry a little bit more speed through in towards the 2nd Degner. Now in towards the hairpin, and now Volbike here again, just happy in 6th place at the moment. He knows that those front runners on the soft tyres have to pit in eventually, and Carlsbury here, James, is looking ever so mighty, ever so close to the back of that Williams.
Just that dirty air throwing him out of Spoon, and he gets caught on the curb as well. It's all just coming to pot a little bit because Cohen and Volbike are catching him behind as well. Marco Botta, by the way, is outpacing Medium Pilot at this stage in the race, which I think is massively interesting given that it's his first race. He could be the one to watch later on, but Volbike right on the back of Cohen down into the Casio Triangle. I think we are going to begin to see some overtakes hopefully happen as Carlsbury has just lost the back of Recon. I think Volbike is going to try and get the move now down on Cohen, but he doesn't decide to use up any overtake mode. He decides to harvest that ERS instead, running down in towards turn 1. It's as we were, to be honest, and Marco Botta catching up to Twitch Lemon. Yeah, as we were, he's not going to get the move.
Yeah, and I think Cohen here just about got away from Volbike because, as you said, he harvested that McLaren, that ERS. He knows DRS is available on the next lap, and maybe he's just willing to use it there instead. Looking at the way in towards that Dunlop curve and getting onto the curb there on the outside. Very brave stuff from Cohen, braver than I to try that one. As we now make our way in towards the Degners, but Volbike here, he's not going anywhere. He's latched onto the back of that rear wing and he's holding on to try and find a way past. The only problem is Matthias on the hard tyres. He's starting to close in now. He's only 1.5 seconds behind this battle and slowly starting to close in with Venom right on his tail too.
And it looks like Recon and Carlsbury as well are coming back to these guys as well. So this could potentially be a 7-car train down to Combi. Hardy about 1.2 seconds off as well, so he could come into it. To be honest, it's a train all the way down from Recon down to 13th. I think that's the best way to try and explain it out on track. Amazing Hour is beginning to close up on Pipette and running down towards 130R for the lead of the race. He looks all over the back of him, to be honest, our championship leader. And Amazing Hour, of course, 3 runs out on track so far, and he's never been out the front 3 all season so far. Papetum leading the way though. I think Amazing Hour might try and have a go down in towards turn 1, but pit window now open, lap 8 to 10 for a set of mediums. I think they're going to continue on further than that though.
Yeah, especially with the safety car as well, helping the soft tyre runners to extend their stint as much
Lemon
as possible.
Lemon down the inside of Hardy, trying to get the move done. Great move there by Lemon. Hardy tries to force the issue down the inside. Never going to get that one done, my son. Lemon through and he's up into 10th. Inside move down in towards turn 1. Hardy trying to fight it back. Lemon through and he's up into 10th.
Yeah, 10th place now for Lemon. He looks to try and climb the order then on those hard tyres. And now his next target will be Combi for 9th place. Papetum trying to break away from the front of this pack, but he can't quite do it this time around. It's not as easy as he'd like it. However, he's still at the front of the pack for now. Amazing Hour second, Recon third, Carlsbury in fourth, Cohen in fifth. We're riding aboard with the sixth place driver in Volbeig and making his way out of the hairpin now. As we go in towards the spoon curve, of course, this race here really has been turned on its head. It's almost split in half. We've got 5 of the top runners in the soft tyres, with Volberg on the mediums, and then 7th downwards, all on the hard tyres, trying to make this tyre last to the end of the race. This is strategy overload, James.
Strategy overload indeed, and the whole field at this stage are covered by 9 seconds out on track as a result of that safety car. Volbeig's just dropped off the back of Cohen. Might have made a mistake coming out of a spoon, I think, and now those mediums, looks like the softs might be just getting their second life, I think, out on track. He's not going to be close enough. Cohen, though, could be quite close enough onto the back of Carlsbury. His pit window now open, lap 9 out of 10. Is he going to try and go down the inside? He will not, but medium pilot will on Marco Botta, not hanging about here for 12th. Medium pilot down the inside, gets Marco Bossa. What I said a couple of laps ago, throw that out the window. Medium pilot 3 is up to 12th.
Yeah, up to 12th place dead for medium pilot. He needs all the positions he can get in this race, and that early safety car did not help him. When Lady Luck is not on your side, she makes sure you know about it with that safety car, as he now has to try and fight his way up the order. Currently 12th place for second place in the championship. Volbeig, though, really trying to turn up the wick on that engine. He's just gone fastest, purple, through sector 1. So right now, he's the fastest person out there in sector 1, really trying to find a way past this runner, but he just can't find that move. He can't find that gap just yet.
It's so difficult to overtake around this track. We're third of the way through, and I don't think we've seen, well, a couple of overtakes further down the field, albeit, but we haven't seen any overtakes so far in the front 6 of the field, and it just comes to show how difficult it is to overtake. Amazing Hour, though, might just book that trend as he now runs up onto the back of Papetum towards the Casio Triangle. He could think about having a go, but I think down in towards turn 1 could be the best place to try and have a go, as he closes in the Australian against the German championship leader against newcomer, and this could be a fascinating battle as it begins onto lap 10. An Amazing Hour, I think he's going to have a crack for the lead on this one. He just turns down the overtake mode, and what I literally just said about 5 seconds ago, yeah, ignore that. Papetum's going to be in the lead down in towards turn 1.
Yeah, and Amazing Hour just picking his moment at this moment in time as we head away through turn 2. You can see there are 2 slightly different lines being taken there.
Oh! Hardy, Lemon into contact. Hardy trying to force it down the inside. Lemon spun. He's got right side end plate damage and he retires out on track. Hardy has dropped the positions as well to medium pilot and Marco Botta. So unfortunate. And Hardy, I think, I don't know who to blame on that one, to be honest. Lemon out of the race.
Yeah, so we'll have to leave that one to the stewards, and Lemon becomes the first retirement. And James, it looks like there he retired out on track.
He did retire out on track. He spun the car, it literally rotated away from him. He spun the car and he retired out on track, which I think will land him in the stewards anyways, apart from that incident. So unfortunate for Lemon. He was having a good race until that point, was fighting, as I say, with Hardy. Hardy now has got damage, I think, as well on the right side end plate, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, he's got away scot-free, which is fortunate, but he did pick up a penalty as a result of that, and it was a 3-second penalty for cutting the corner. So only 3 seconds, fortunately for him.
Yeah, looking at the battle for the lead pack then, as we see Volbeig has got a really good run on Cohen. Is he going to try and move down towards the Casio Triangle? Wind taps the back of the Renault there. No front wing damage at the moment, but as we make our way now down in towards the final corner, Papetum and Amazing Hour both into the pits. Volbeig here looking for a move then. He's got the move on Cohen as he going down towards turn 1. They're running side by side all the way through turn 1. Now in towards turn 2. The Renault has to take to the curb, but he loses out. Volbeig then up into third place, and I thought for just a second that the double move would have been on for the McLaren, but Carlsbury just about has enough momentum to stay ahead. So Amazing Hour and Papetum dive into the pits. They bail out on their soft tyres. Now onto a set of mediums as we've got yellow flags in sector 1, and that's Hardy. XL Hardy, who's found himself around. That's at turn 3.
Yeah, not sure if he lost it coming on the curb, coming through turn 3, but what I can tell you, Amazing Hour is now in the lead of the in the net lead of the race. He's jumped Papetum in the pits.
Yeah, so a nice move there and a nice set of outcomes for Alfa Romeo as Amazing Hour now rejoins ahead of Papetum, and how they would have loved that move. in the pit lane there. Volbike, though, is a man on a mission. He knows that he probably has to two-stop in this race, so he needs to get past these soft tyre runners and try and extend the lead over the hard tyre runners. Otherwise, his strategy is really going to bite him on the backside when it gets towards the end of this race. But Carlsberg at the moment pulling away from the McLaren at this moment in time. Lap 11 of the Japanese Grand Prix. You have 17 laps to go, 16 and a bit if you're picky. Recon leads the way ahead of Carlsberg, Volbike in third, Cohen fourth. Recon is into the pits, as is Carlsberg, and Volbike then will take the lead of the race.
Cohen, interestingly, staying out an extra lap onto a set of soft compounded tyres. Now, I'd imagine these guys will pit in for a set of mediums as well, who are coming in. Carlsberg's already in. He's onto a set of mediums. Recon already in. He's onto a set of mediums. So 15 laps quite easy on a set of softs. On a set of mediums, I should say. Amazing Hours coming out the final corner. This could be quite close, you know. I think these guys are just going to follow in line behind these. And Amazing Hour, yeah, is going to follow in 8th. Perpetuum 9th. Recon out in 10th position. Pretty much as we were, to be honest. Matthias is on the back of Venom's. Venom's again running out wide as Hardy retires into the pit lane. Out on track. And unfortunately for Hardy, he just got caught up in that incident and he retires in the pit lane. Not out on track, as I said.
Yeah, so that's the right way to do it, is to come back to the pit lane to then retire the car. So he is unfortunately out of the Japanese Grand Prix, will be taking no further part, therefore not scoring any points in this championship round. Riding on board with Matthias then, he's on the hard tyres trying to chase down Venom ahead of him as we now make our way towards the Spoon Curve. Now of course these guys on the hard tyres are looking to get to the end of the race. Amazing Hour is 10.9 behind Marco Botta as we now make our way on towards 130R. Going to be interesting considering the fact that there's only 16 laps of this race to go, so you're going to have to be pretty quick on the mark, quick on the ball as well. Try and catch up to those hard tyre runners because they won't be easy to catch, let alone pass.
Yeah, but the feeling will get those hard runners, I think, as Cohen comes into pit lane from second, those hard runners, I think, might commit to a sort of soft compound of tyres towards the end of the race. Just try and speed them up a little bit and try and outdo, I should say, whatever's going to be lost in terms of the racing out on track. Now, Cohen is coming out the pit lane out on track. He's gone onto a set of mediums. Amazing Hours sets the new fastest lap of the race. And I think Cohen will filter in behind Carlsberg here. And he will be quite a way behind Carlsberg, I think, when he comes out the pit. Yeah, about 3 seconds, I think, as he comes out the pit lane. Carlsberg from Cohen 10th and 11th. But yeah, 10.3 seconds. Amazing Hour is into that advantage. But the advantage for him is he's on fresh rubber. The guys ahead are on wearing tyres, so essentially we've got a split strategy. Volbike is definitely going to have to pit in. Can the rest of the guys make it to the end? I'm not sure.
Well, they're certainly going to try it, aren't they? They have to now, really, if they want to try and have a good result in this race. Pitting from the hard tyres is possibly one of the worst things they could do at this moment in time, purely because they've got the track position now. We know in Japan there aren't many overtaking opportunities. If you can just keep your nose ahead, if you can just defend your position, you've got a good chance of holding on to that position. So for the hard tyre runners, it's sort of a fact that they have to stay out now in order to make this strategy work. Riding on board with Matthias, he's just gone half a second quicker than his own personal best on that last lap alone. He's on the money now, and Venom needs to be looking in that rear view mirror. Riding on board now with Matthias as he tries to chase down Venom all the way now towards that start finish line. He'll have the DRS, but I don't think he's quite close enough. Then again, he turns down his ERS, so he's not interested in making a move this time around, but slowly closing on Venom ahead of him.
Yeah, and Matthias not getting the snake bite out on track. I have to put in a really bad pun there, I know. Volbike does lead the way from Venom in second. I can just hear now Kieran cursing in his mind, I think, but I've now said that. Carlsberg, 28.7, fastest lap of the race actually from Carlsberg. He's catching the leading runners, actually. If those guys were to pit in, Volbike down to Marco Botta, Amazing Hour, Perpetuum, Recon, Carlsberg would be your top 4. Carlsberg's catching these guys, and he's in clear air, and that's why he's catching. All of the guys, I think, in ahead might just fall over each other. Carlsberg is in a really good shout at winning this, actually.
Well, the thing is that they've got to get past the hard tyre runners, and the track position here at Japan is crucial. Perpetuum then on lap 14, halfway through this race, and we've got our first 3-second time penalty for Perpetuum. So that's a long way into this race. Quite amazing to see those track limits, but I think we will see them towards the sort of lap 16, 17 mark, where concentration starts to wane just a slight bit. And although there aren't many places the stewards are looking here in Japan, where they are looking, they are very strict.
They are very strict, and I think he got caught out of turn 14. No, not through turn 14, out of Sector 2, I should say, to try and he's picked up that 3-second time penalty. Hardy did pick up a 3-second time penalty early on, but out of the runners that are still going, Papetum has picked up the first 3-second time penalty of the night. Matthias closing in again on Venom, but he can't find that sniper bite? That didn't work. Snake bite once again out on track for second and third. I should shut up at this point.
No, you know what? I know the perfect candidate who's ready to take over from my position next season. And it's someone who makes snakebite a pun. They say prepare for everything when you come into a commentary box. I'm not prepared for what James throws at me every week. I never have been, and I never will be. Lap 15, Volbeig then leads from Venom in second place. Matthias third, Combi in fourth with Medium Pilot in fifth. Marco Botta is in sixth place. Impressive display from him so far in this race. Amazing Hour in seventh, Papetum eighth, Recon ninth, Carlsbury rounding out the top 10, and it's then Cohen in 11th place. And he's been a little bit in the walls in this race so far, but he's done well to keep his head down and just keep putting in those laps. Currently last of the runners right now, but 11th place yields some very good points, James.
It does yield some very good points out on track, and Cohen will be hoping to try and get past Carlsbury. That's his main target, I think, out on track. Those guys, by the way, Mason Hour, Papetum, over the last 3 or 4 laps, that gap was about 11 seconds. It's now nearly 7.3 seconds out on track. So do the maths. They've closed about 4 seconds, probably about a second and a half a lap on average out on track. Papetum has been harvesting his ERS though out on track. I'm on board with him now. He's got 60% of ERS left, and he closes up to Amazing now up to 130R, and it looks like he's close enough to try and get the net lead possibly of the race out on track. He now takes that overtake mode up to 9, but Amazing now responds, and Papetum I don't think is going to close enough, but look at the closing speed. He is closing in down in towards turn 1, but I think he's just going to back out of this one through turn 1, through turn 2. Yeah, Amazing now still stays in 7th, Papetum in 8th, but the warning sign is there. Papetum right on the back of Amazing Hour. He's just recognising that he's there, and I hope this is going to be a good battle going forward. Venom picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, right on lap 16, right on cue then for when I thought the first penalty was going to be. Unfortunately, I got the second penalty, and it was on lap 16. Medium Pilot, though, closing in on Combi, getting a little bit too deep in towards the hairpin there. It might cost him on exit, but Combi here is not getting away at the rate of knots he might have liked, because Medium Pilot is now trying to reel him in with that slipstream, and you can just about see that yellow bar that Medium Pilot has. It's more than 3/4 full at the moment. He turns up the wick to get himself a little bit of an exit launch out of Spoon Curve and onwards now towards 130R. He is saving this for a move down the start-finish straight, now flying our way through 130R. Might try it a little bit earlier, will he? Down in towards the Casio Triangle? No, he won't. He'll wait for that start-finish straight in towards turn 1, riding on board now with Medium Pilot. He turns up the wick once again. He turns up that ERS deployment. DRS is now online. He's closing in on Combi, pulls over to the left-hand side, gives him a wave as he flies his way through past and up into 4th place. So Medium Pilot, an important move to get past Combi, is now into 4th place. Next up is his teammate, 1.8 up the road.
A Medium Pilot, as I said earlier on when he came into the pit lane, as Papetum closes up on Amazing now once again, not close enough to the back, but Medium Pilot, 1.9 seconds off the back of Matthias. I said when he came into the pit he could make those tyres to the end of the race. Those tyres right on board look quite fresh, to be honest, out on track. He's maintaining this tyre life really well indeed, and he's into 4th. He has got the pace to catch up to the back. It's just a case of if Volbeig's tyres begin to fall off the cliff, Venom and Matthias will be there, but they're on a lap older tyres. I think they're on 2 lap older tyres, actually, according to the wrong graphic I think is showing. Medium Pilot's on 2 lap fresher tyres when he came out the pit lane. Matthias and Venom getting closed down. A Medium Pilot is out there, and, more importantly, he's outscoring Papetum as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge moment in the championship, isn't it, heading towards Mexico. If Medium Pilot can outscore Papetum by quite some distance as well, it could have serious implications when we head to the penultimate round in Mexico next week. But Volbeig leads the way as he makes his way in towards the pit lane. So this should be, well, it's going to be tough to be the soft tyres, although it could be. They are ready. The Red Bull tyres are ready, but he's going to rejoin at the back of the field, surely. All the field is going to pass him through as he just waits to be released from the pit lane. Matthias, meanwhile, chasing down Venom for what is now the lead of the race. And now for the top 5, There's a big 10 laps ahead. Amazing Hour is only 5.2 behind Marco Botta, but that means he's 9 seconds behind Combi. I think the advantage lies at the moment with those hard tyre runners, so long as they can keep the pace up.
12 seconds to Venom as well, from Amazing Hour to Venom. That is first to sixth, pretty much covered in that time perspective. Pepetum right on the back. He's got a 3-second time penalty. I think Amazing Hour knows he's got a 3-second time penalty. But, because obviously it appears in the top left-hand side of the driver's screen, but Pepetum is right on the limit. Recon is just holding back. He's using up that ERS. He should try and just back off a little bit more. He's got Cosby chasing him down, but Cosby I don't think is a threat. If Recon was to harvest a little bit more ERS, I think he could have a crack at these two.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but at the moment, Matthias is trying to battle away for the lead of this race. Venom, meanwhile, does have that 3-second time penalty. That'll be added to the end of this race, but Matthias here is really starting to close in on Venom as we make our way now in towards that Casio triangle. The cloud's starting to build over the old Honda test track as we make our way on board with Matthias down at the start-finish straight. Is this going to be a chance? Mercedes versus Ferrari, where have we heard that before? Coming down towards the first turn, but he backs out of that ERS deployment and can't find that way through yet. But look how close he is to the back of Venom at this moment in time. I wonder if he's interested in battling at all.
Here comes Pepetum. Pepetum passing Amazing Hour down the straight as well, and he gets the move done. Pepetum through, and he's now into 6th position out on track. That was crucial, and he now needs to extend that gap out because he's got that 3-second time penalty. He needs to extend that gap out, but right on cue as you finish there, Pepetum now leading Amazing Hour pretty much in the kind of net lead in the race, but I think these hards are definitely going to the end now.
Yeah, they've got to go to the end. They can't pit in now, otherwise they'll sacrifice that track position. And on these hard tyres, with a narrow track like Suzuka, you've still got a chance of defending that position. More often than that, though, Pepetum's got to try and make his way past Marco Botta, then close in the 4.5 seconds it is to Combi. So the odds are always stacking against him. Then he's got a 3-second time penalty as well to be added to the end of his race on top of that. So it gets harder and harder for Pepetum to get a real result in this race to try and outscore Medium Pilot.
And Medium Pilot is the man I'm on board with because he is catching Matthias and Venom hand over fist out on track. Venom leading the way, Matthias in second, Medium Pilot in third. I think Medium Pilot's just going to sit back and enjoy this one, to be honest. The Ferrari and the Mercedes getting out, but Venom always has a good run at the final corner, and 0.5 of a second is enough to try and keep that gap down the straight. Medium Pilot is just sitting in behind. He looks quicker than these two guys ahead of him. He's just going to have to sit, wait, be patient, use those tyres to the greatest effect possible and take the lead of the race, because I think he can do this now. As Volbike tests the new fastest lap, 28.1 out on track, and I think we've only improved the fastest lap there by 2-3 of a second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think for Volbike there, it's going to be a tough one for all of these drivers on those hard and medium tyres to really get a better lap time than that one. So Volbike right now will be hoping that that's an extra bonus point added for the fastest lap of the race. He doesn't need to finish in the top 10 to get that one. Marco Botta now picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he'll just be wanting to get to the end to get some good points on the board. Remember, he's a reserve driver here tonight, so any points he scores does not count to his constructors' standing with Red Bull, but it does count towards his own personal driver's standing. So if he can get a good result on the board, that's fantastic for him, and a sign of what could have been for Red Bull, who've got Lemon out of this race.
Yeah, Lemon out of the race, but Marco Botta's doing a fantastic job out on track. I can bring you, by the way, a live championship standing out on track. Pepetum on 176 points, including the pole position. He's in P6 currently. Medium Pilot second on 155 points. He's in third, but he's chasing down these front two nicely. And Matthias will now be third in the championship on 114 points, and now he's chasing down Venom for the lead of the race. So there's a live timing. There's a live title update in terms from Tom.
Yes, so Matthias at the moment will be getting ahead of Killer Blue towards the last 2 rounds of the championship. That's going to be a really good battle for third place in this championship. Matthias maybe has his eyes set on the top of the standings, but after this race, there's only 66 points left to score. Venom went off. Venom off of the Dunlop curve. He ran wide, and Matthias says thank you very much. So too does Medium Pilot, and all of a sudden it becomes a Mercedes 1-2. Now, then, what does Matthias do? Is there going to be that team order for Matthias to let Medium Pilot through? Or are these two going to say, throw caution to the wind and have a nice battle out on track?
If I was the virtual Total Wolf, go for it. Medium Pilot's got nothing to lose. Matthias has got nothing to lose. Both haven't got penalties out on track. Venom has, Marco Botta has, Perpetuum has, Combi doesn't, but Matthias leading the way out on track. Medium Pilot is running all over the back of his teammate though out on track. Pretty much like Bottas and Hamilton in real life, I think.
Well, here we go then towards 130R, and you can see already how much Venom is starting to fall back as Medium Pilot makes his way now down towards the Casio Triangle, looking for a move past Matthias here. His days in the lead might just be numbered as we make our way towards the start-finish line. Here comes Medium Pilot then looking for that move with the DRS down towards the start-finish line, and Medium Pilot does take the lead of the race, and it has to be said, Matthias didn't put up too much of a fight there. Matthias is down to P2. It is now Medium Pilot who leads the Japanese Grand Prix.
And there's Volbeat coming down, Volbike I should say, coming down the inside of Cohen. Nearly mispronounced his name there, but Volbike is through, down the inside and towards turn 1. Gets a clean move done on Cohen this time, and he's through and he's up into 10th. Those softs are really beginning to come into play, but the big disadvantage for him, he's catching guys ahead that are on mediums, and he's going to be held up in a right old train as Marco Botta is coming back to the likes of Perpetuum and Amazing Hour. Volbike is just catching. There's your worst case scenario right there if you were Volbeek's position.
Yes, well, that's for sure. I mean, we've already mentioned it with the medium tyre runners having to try and get their way past the hard tyre runners. It's going to be a similar scenario, if not a slightly worse scenario for Volbeek, because he's on the soft tyres and those tyres deteriorate at a much quicker rate than the mediums do. So he's going to have all that pace, but then towards sort of lap 26, lap 27, there's not going to be much on that canvas left on those tyres that he could really drive a wheel at aggressively. So he's got to be careful about how much pace he uses, and if he does use that pace, that tyre wear is not going to be his friend at the end of this race. Perpetuum, 6th place right now, but look how much he's closed on Marco Botta just ahead of him as we make our way now down towards that Casio Triangle. And Marco Botta here, I hate to say it, might be a little bit of a sitting duck down the start-finish straight as Perpetuum gets the launch he needs off of the Casio Triangle. And now we make our way down the start-finish straight. Look at this then, Perpetuum with the DRS open. No need to use all of the ERS as he makes his way down towards turn 1. And Perpetuum up to 5th place. Important move, that one, because that's the first of the hard tyre runners dispatched. But here lies the problem. We have, 5 laps to go for Perpetuum. The gap between himself and Combi is 5.5. He's then got a 3-second time penalty. The odds are forever stacked against him.
And he's got 15 lap hold medium by the end of this race as well, which are going to be very worn. Marco Botta, by the way, I am fearing that he might get a puncture. I'm just looking at that rear left tyre. That looks like it's about to go, honestly. Amazing Hours behind him out on track. And those rears look really, really bad. In terms of the blistering going through the middle of the tyre and running onto the marbles as well, is not going to help. He could be in big trouble towards the final couple of laps of this race.
Well, we have a look at Recon then, who's got a perfect view of Amazing Hour now, trying to have a move on Marco Botta. And speaking of Amazing Hour, we're riding on board with him now, as there could be a move going into 130R. He backs out of the ERS at the moment, but he's closing in on the Red Bull. It's either go for a move or let off the throttle. He decides the latter, but this might be a move down in towards the Casio Triangle. It is, and was he behind the Red Bull going in towards that DRS detection point? Amazing Hour's got the move done in towards the Casio Triangle. Does he have the DRS? You bet he does.
Carlsby spun into the pit lane. Carlsby spins into the pit lane. Not sure if he was making a pit stop anyways, but he's into the pit lane. Regardless, Recon's right on the back of Marco Botta, trying to go down the inside. He tries to force the issue down the inside, but Marco Botta hangs on. So much going on. Saw Carlsby just spin in the background. I don't know what happened to him. But he goes on for medium compound of tyres. I think he just spun it, possibly coming out the final corner. It's ended up in the pit lane, and he decided to take it and go fastest lap attempt.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he can do at the moment, as we see Recon here now on the back of Marco Botta as we make our way in towards the Degner curves, and a tap from Recon onto Marco Botta, who's just trying to desperately hang on to those tyres and try and finish in a good position here, because there's plenty of points on offer for the Red Bull driver, who's had a good race today, all things considered. He's not long into this league and already he's running alongside some of the big names in TT Masters League. You'll love this one. But he now makes his way on towards the Spoon Curve. Unfortunately, the tyres are against him at this moment in time. 21 laps old, hard tyre. And here comes Recon then on the approach in towards 130R. As you can see, the ERS goes from off to on. It's on for now as we make our way towards 130R. Recon's got the inside line move done before that 130-degree radius corner. And the Williams now finds himself ahead into 7th place. That was a split-second decision that needed to be made. And Recon, in that split second, made the right call. And Marco Botta, front right puncture for the hard-running tyre of Marco Botta, and suddenly there are warning signs to the hard tyre runners in the top 4.
Medium Pilot's taking it so carefully out on track. He does not want to be the next one, certainly to pick up a puncture. That was on 22-lap old hards. Matthias, Venom and Combi are going to be doing 24-lap old hards. So there's your problem right there. Medium Pilot's going to be doing 23-lap hard runners towards the end of the race. So it's going to be fascinating to see, is anybody else going to pick up a puncture out on track? Could we have Silverstone from a few years ago?
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for Marco Botta, though. He wanted to make those tyres last to the end of the race, but couldn't quite make it. His front right said no, no, no. Carlsbury is having a moment there at turn 3. He's doing a little bit of rally cross there, managing to rejoin the circuit, though, and rejoining in some style as well. A bit of opposite lock as he rejoined onto the track, but he is in 11th place. He will still be scoring some decent points. Amazing Hour now has a good run on Perpetuum as we make our way towards 130R. Only a handful of laps to go in this race. The medium tyre runners not exactly driving without care in the world, but at the moment they're in a much better place with their tyre wear than the hard tyre runners that occupy the top 4. Amazing Hour here might have a chance on Perpetuum up ahead of him. He might be a little bit too far back though, we'll have to see. Going down the start-finish straight and towards the first 2 turns, and yeah, Amazing Hour is going to be a little bit too far back to attempt a move there, but the Alfa Romeo is right on the back of the Alfa Tauri and letting him know he's there.
McLaren right on the back of the Williams as well, just in behind Recon and Volbike. Really doing a fantastic job out on track. Volbike is running all over the back of Recon, who of course was runner-up back in the TTL days, the final season of TTL. He finished behind Kalsper, of all people, out on track. He announces league racing retirement very
soon. Venom, front right puncture, another front right puncture for the Ferrari this time, heading our way in towards the hairpin, and so bad there for Venom. Carlsbury retires from the race in the pit lane, and Venom has to go round the track on around about 2.5 kilometres to get back to the pit lane. They're dropping like flies, the hard tyre runners, at this moment in time. Medium Pilot, Matthias and Combi now on those hard tyres. Now they're ticking time bombs.
They are ticking time bombs, and they've only got one more lap to go after this, which I guess is quite fortunate. Cosby, by the way, retired into the pit lane. Recon is going side by side with Venom as a result. Venom is still trying to keep that car at full speed. Do not go full speed coming through 130R, because that tyre is just going to go. Volbike now on the outside line, trying to get the move done, and he does. Venom just backs off and allows him through. Recon through and Volbike through as well. Combi Matthias onto the final lap of the race. Going to be fascinating to see. Don't think Combi's going to be close enough, but it's going to be fascinating to see if he can get the move done. Volbike as well on the back of Recon. Now down the inside line, can he get the move done? He's going to have the car ahead, and he does have the full car ahead. He's through and he's up into 6th.
Yeah, nice move there, and all eyes now will be on Medium Pilot's front right tyre, as will Matthias's front right tyre, so too with Combi, because 2 of the punctures we've seen already today have been front right hand tyre. Combi, meanwhile, I don't think he's going to care at this moment in time. There's a podium on the cards at the moment. He's got a puncture! Combi got the puncture! Going through the first Degner! He's pushed too hard! And now he's going to lose that podium! Oh, if he just held on to that tyre, maybe!
Perpetuum's gone into the back of him! He's lost 3rd! Combi spun! Volbike down the inside! All chaos! I thought Medium Pilot had a puncture and all that as well. He doesn't! But Medium Pilot leaves Matthias 2nd!
Oh no! Matthias has got a puncture as well! All the tyres are letting go in the final final couple of kilometres, Matthias will just try and Lewis Hamilton it towards the start-finish line to cover and hold on to as many positions as possible. There's only one hard tyre runner standing, and that's Medium Pilot. And how crucial could that be for the championship, for the Mercedes of Medium Pilot, making his way now down in towards the Casio Triangle for the final time, nursing whatever's left on the canvas of the front right-hand tyre. It is Medium Pilot who makes his way towards the start-finish line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Amazing hour across the line in second. Matthias hanging on to those deflated tyres to finish in third place. Volberg in fourth, Cohen fifth, Recon in sixth, Papetin finishing all the way down in seventh place, Combi in eighth, finishing on a deflated front right-hand tyre. And, well, James, I can't really sum up the end of that race as better than, well, not deflated, I guess. 3 hard tyre runners at the front of the field losing their front right-hand tyre. 2 of them on the final lap of the race. But the one that mattered, at least to Medium Pilot, was his front right tyre. It stayed intact, and it's helped him get the win of this race. And as well as that, the drivers have voted him the in-game driver of the day. Well, I wouldn't like to be a front right-hand tyre around Japan, that's for sure. Because at no point of that race did I feel any deflated like that. It is a race win for Medium Pilot. It's a Mercedes 1-3. Amazing hour onto the podium yet again. But what a race we had here in Japan.
Absolutely unbelievable. And Silverstone, a couple of years ago, I literally said it a few laps before all of this happened. Silverstone was the one to compare. And look what happened. James gets another prediction right.
Absolutely. And Medium Pilot got the win. Amazing Hour got second, and Matthias got third. Someone play back the start of this race. Someone play back that formation lap. Let's see if James got that absolutely bob on. But that is your podium for the official, unofficial results of the Japanese Grand Prix here in TT Masters League. It's a Volberg in fourth place, who pitted in to go onto a set of soft tyres. What a decision that turned out to be. It got him fourth place and the fastest lap of the race. Cohen in fifth, Recon sixth, Papetum down in seventh place with Combi in eighth, Marco Botta in ninth, and Venom rounding out the top 10. Carlsbury retiring in the pit lane. That means he didn't see the checker flag. That means his lap time and his points will not count for either driver or constructor. Hardy and Lemon also retiring from this race in what was a hectic last 6 kilometres here at Suzuka. It's Medium Pilot that's just about come out on top.
Oh, take a breather, everyone. Just calm down.
Bliss, isn't it?
Oh.
A bliss of calm. Well, I have to say, James, if that's our third to last race to go, that safety car changed everything. We saw the field split in half, with only one driver sort of going against the mould of everybody else. And for that driver, at least, it got him fourth place.
It did get him fourth place, Volberg, and he was involved in a collision early on with Cohen, remember, just after that safety car restart. He had to fight his way through the field, and on his debut, he did a sterling job, I've got to be honest. But Medium Pilot, watch back the formation lap when I said that Medium Pilot would win the race. Look what happened. Do not doubt me for 1 second.
Doubt him for 2 instead. But, I mean, such a bizarre end to this Japanese Grand Prix, but I'll tell you what, we loved every minute of it. Those hard tyres just about hanging on for Medium Pilot, and that does mean 30 points added to his championship tally. Don't forget as well, Papetum with the pole position, there's 2 more points added to his championship standing at the beginning of this race. But what that does mean is Medium Pilot starts to close in. He
does start to close in. I think Papetum finished, what, 7th in that? So it's a massive points haul. And judging from what I read out, lap 20, the live standings as it once was, just imagine how much that has now changed.
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, a great win there for the Mercedes team. And in the midst of, well, one of those drivers had a puncture towards the end. That front right-hand tyre was just having no more. And well, somehow he got it to the end of Matthias, but he got third place, and that could mean that he grabs third place in this Drivers' Championship at this moment in time, James. Of course, that's unconfirmed because these are the official, unofficial results.
It is the official, unofficial results, and what I'm trying to look at, hopefully, if Tom comes through with the standings, he's probably just had enough as much as us, I think, after that race. He's probably thinking to himself, goodness me, how many punctures in that final few laps of that race. He's probably, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Lost for words, James?
Yeah, lost for words.
Lost for words. That's a good recovery, isn't it? We should use that one time. Well, I think, to be honest with you, James, I think we could call it a night there. I think the drivers will be absolutely exhausted, as are we, and I think they'll just be looking for their beds. They won't be deflated as their tyres, but they'll certainly be just like to do it all over again, and you can watch it all over again if you really want to. Just rewind that, subscribe, like the channel as well, so you don't miss the final 2 rounds of TT Masters League. And for a last race of TT Masters League in 2020, I couldn't think of a more 2020 way to bow out.
Maybe a race of the season candidate?
Yeah, I think it's up there. I think it is up there. It has to be, with the amount that went on in the final 50 kilometres at least. With so much going on, yeah, it's definitely a contender for race of the season. Can our last 2 races match up to that? There's only one way to find out, and that's by going to them for the last 2 rounds of TT Masters League Season 2 in the new year. James, Mexico, Abu Dhabi. Try and hype it up any more than you possibly can, if that's possible. Ex-Baseball
Stadium, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, Abu Dhabi, hopefully more overtaking. There you are.
Yes, I hope so. There's plenty of hairpins which can make overtaking a possibility in Abu Dhabi, so let's hope we see some great action out there. That is in January, of course, and you can see the hopefully the calendar up there, giving you all the details about when you can tune in for that one in the new year. And we hope to see you in the new year to be able to cover much more of the same as we head in towards that new year of 2021, which hopefully will treat us all just a slight bit better than this year has. But yeah, I can't think of a more 2020 way to bow out of 2020 than by having 3 drivers on the final lap have front right punctures.
Absolutely unbelievable. And if you want more of that, tune in next week, of course. It is next week? Next week's Christmas. Ignore me. Goodness me, I need to get into that into my head for the remaining 2 nights of commentary that I'm going to be doing, plus Esports Masters League tomorrow night, of course, which is where you can all find the next bit of action that is going to be unfolding out on track. Canada, one of Kieran's favourite tracks. Premier Division, of course, at 8:30. Before that, it is League One. Aidan Carter and Daka taking you through that one. And then myself and Kieran are reunited in the commentary box at 8:30. Tomorrow evening, Division 2, Division 3, same time, same place, same commentary team. And then Division 4 and 5, same place. I might be commentating on Division 4. Have to wait and see if Graham doesn't make it.
Well, what a way to clickbait, and what a way to add tension into that one.
And I've just had, from Tom, the live standings as it was after that race. 10 points separating the lead of the championship. Perpetuum on 175, Medium Potter on 165, Amazing Hour now third on 116 points. Unconfirmed, partly down to Tom's maths, I think, but hopefully those are the correct standings. Perpetuum, Medium Potter, Amazing Hour into the top 3. Perpetuum, Medium Potter, 1 race. Could that bring Amazing Hour into contention? Who knows?
Well, there's only one way to find out. 5th of January and 12th of January. Mark it in your calendars. It's the last 2 races of TT Masters League Season number 2. One of them will have to be crowned champion, but you'll have to wait until then to find out who. From myself and from James Head, it's been a pleasure covering this race for you, and what a race it has been. I think we'll be watching this one back time and time and time again to really unpack what on earth just happened. Thank you so much for watching along tonight. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night as well for Esports Masters League, where we head to the Canadian Grand Prix. Until then, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.